Life in Calcutta unfolds like a living river, layered, restless, and deeply emotional. And this documentary steps straight into that flow, letting the city speak through its streets, people, sounds, and contradictions. From the very first visuals, Kolkata is not treated as a postcard city, but as a breathing organism where history, struggle, art, faith, and survival move together in a tightly packed rhythm. The camera doesn't rush to impress with glamour. Instead, it patiently observes, allowing everyday life to become the main narrative. Trams rattling through narrow roads, vendors calling out prices, children playing barefoot near colonial-era buildings, and office workers squeezed into yellow taxis all coexist in the same frame, setting the tone for a city that refuses to be simplified. The documentary's strongest feature is its immersive realism. It uses long, steady shots rather than fast cuts, giving viewers time to absorb the atmosphere. This performance choice by the filmmakers creates a sense of presence, as if the audience is walking through Kolkata rather than watching it from a distance. The pacing mirrors the city itself. Slow and reflective in the early mornings by the Hooghly River, chaotic and intense during midday markets, and emotionally rich in the evenings when tea stalls, bookshops, and street performers come alive. This balance keeps viewers engaged without overwhelming them, making the experience accessible even to those unfamiliar with Indian urban life. Kolkata's design elements are not limited to architecture. The city's design is social and cultural. The documentary highlights colonial buildings like the Victoria Memorial and Howrah Bridge, not just as landmarks but as functional parts of daily life. Trains thunder across the bridge while vendors sell tea below it, showing how historical design continues to serve modern needs. Narrow lanes in North Kolkata reveal old houses with crumbling walls, wooden balconies, and inner courtyards where families have lived for generations. These visuals are carefully framed to show texture, peeling paint, rusted iron railings, handwritten shop signs, and tangled electrical wires. The city's design feels organic rather than planned, shaped more by human need than urban theory. Performance aspects are deeply human here. Instead of relying on narration alone, the documentary lets residents perform their lives naturally in front of the camera. A rickshaw puller explains his daily routine, a fish seller at a local market demonstrates how prices change with the tide, and a young student discusses dreams of a better future while sitting on the steps of a crowded bus. None of these moments feel staged. The filmmakers clearly prioritize authenticity over perfection, allowing pauses, background noise, and imperfect framing to remain. This choice strengthens trust between the viewer and the story, making the documentary feel honest and grounded. One of the most unique selling points of this documentary is how it handles contrast. Kolkata is shown as a city of extremes without turning those extremes into spectacle. Wealth and poverty exist side by side, but the camera does not sensationalize suffering. Instead, it focuses on resilience. Slum areas are portrayed with dignity, highlighting community bonds, shared meals, and collective celebrations. At the same time, upscale neighborhoods and shopping districts appear calm and orderly, revealing another layer of urban life. By placing these worlds close together within the narrative, the documentary encourages viewers to understand inequality as part of a larger system rather than an isolated issue. Sound design plays a critical role in shaping the experience. Rather than overpowering scenes with background music, the documentary uses ambient city sounds as its primary audio layer. The clang of tram bells, the call to prayer from a distant mosque, temple bells, church choirs, political slogans, and street musicians blend into a natural soundtrack. When music is used, it is subtle and culturally rooted, often inspired by Bengali folk traditions or classical instruments. This careful sound design enhances emotional connection while preserving realism. Food culture receives special attention, serving as both a visual and emotional anchor. The documentary follows the journey of food from market to plate, capturing early morning fish auctions, spice vendors arranging colorful piles, and home kitchens where recipes are passed down orally. Street food scenes are shot close-up, focusing on textures and movements, oil bubbling, hands shaping dough, steam rising from pots. These moments are not just about taste, but about social interaction. Food becomes a lens through which viewers understand hospitality, class, tradition, and daily survival in Calcutta. The documentary's technical performance stands out through its use of natural lighting. Early morning scenes glow softly, afternoons feel harsh and crowded, and nights are filled with warm yellows and shadows. This lighting approach avoids artificial polish and instead reflects the true mood of each time of day. The cinematography embraces imperfections like lens flares, uneven exposure, and handheld movement, which adds to the feeling of being inside the city rather than observing it from above. Education, art, and intellectual life form another strong layer of the narrative. Kolkata's reputation as a city of thinkers and artists is explored through bookstores, college campuses, street debates, and cultural gatherings. The documentary shows students reading on crowded buses, elderly men discussing politics over tea, and young poets performing at small community events. These scenes highlight a unique selling point of Kolkata: its deep respect for ideas, discussion, and creativity, even amid economic hardship. Religious and cultural diversity is handled with sensitivity and balance. The documentary moves through Hindu festivals, Muslim neighborhoods, Christian institutions, and Jewish heritage sites, without favoring one narrative over another. Festivals like Durga Puja are presented not only as grand celebrations, but as community projects involving months of preparation, teamwork, and shared pride. The camera captures artisans building idols, families saving money for decorations, and volunteers managing crowds, revealing how faith and culture are woven into everyday labor. Transportation becomes a metaphor for Calcutta itself. Trams symbolize history and resistance to change. Buses represent chaos and accessibility. Trains show connection and migration, and walking reveals intimacy. The documentary spends time inside crowded buses and local trains, letting viewers feel the physical closeness, noise, and rhythm of movement. These scenes are not rushed, allowing discomfort and curiosity to coexist, which helps international audiences understand daily realities rather than just observe them. The narrative design avoids a strict linear structure. Instead, it moves like memory, jumping between places, people, and times of day. This design choice reflects how cities are experienced emotionally rather than logically. Viewers might move from a quiet riverside scene to a loud market without explanation, trusting intuition rather than maps. This approach may feel unconventional, but it suits Calcutta's character, making the documentary feel less like a guided tour and more like lived experience. Another notable aspect is the focus on labor. From manual workers to artists, the documentary treats work as a central identity. It shows hands repeatedly. Hands pulling rickshaws, writing on chalkboards, stitching clothes, washing utensils, playing instruments. These visual motifs reinforce the idea that Kolkata survives through effort and persistence. The camera respects labor by staying close and patient, never cutting away too quickly. The emotional tone remains balanced throughout. There is nostalgia without romanticizing the past, realism without cynicism, and hope without exaggeration. Interviews are edited to preserve natural speech patterns, including pauses and unfinished thoughts. This editorial choice makes people feel real rather than scripted, allowing viewers to connect on a human level regardless of cultural background. Kolkata's relationship with time is another subtle theme. Old clocks, fading calendars, and generational homes suggest a city that carries its past openly. Yet, smartphones, online businesses, and young entrepreneurs show a future pushing forward. The documentary doesn't frame this as conflict, but as coexistence, presenting a city that adapts without forgetting. The use of language is also thoughtful. While the primary narration is in English, local languages are preserved through subtitles rather than being replaced. This respects authenticity and gives viewers a sense of linguistic richness. Accents, expressions, and colloquial phrases are left intact, enhancing cultural depth. What truly sets this documentary apart is its refusal to simplify Calcutta into a single identity. It is not just poor or intellectual, chaotic or calm, old or modern. It is all of these at once. The filmmakers understand that the city's strength lies in its contradictions, and they design every element, from camera movement to sound, to reflect that complexity. By the time the documentary moves through its final sequences of daily routines repeating themselves, viewers are no longer just learning about Kolkata. They are feeling it. The city becomes familiar, even intimate. Not because everything has been explained, but because enough has been experienced. The documentary succeeds by trusting the audience's intelligence and emotional capacity. offering observation instead of instruction, presence instead of summary, and life instead of labels.